Okay, so here we are in the main dashboard area, and we will now create the custom forms that we can add to the website. Now, the first thing that you need to do when you create a form is you need to add a campaign. The campaign is where your list and your data is stored. So we will have contact form as the first campaign, and we will add that campaign. And then we'll create another one, and we'll call this event booking form, and we will add that. And then we will add our donation form. Now let's close this down, and now let's go to manage custom forms, which is down here, and let's click manage custom forms. Now you will see the forms or the campaigns that we've added, and now we can create forms for these campaigns. So let's do the easy one first, and let's create a contact form. So let's go in here, and we will click the pencil to edit that form. Now, one of the things you'll notice whenever you create a form, there will always be an email as a mandatory field. So that has to remain there because you will need an email on every single form. So let's go ahead and add some more columns. So the first thing that we want to do is add our first name and last name for our contact form. So we're going to add a 2-column row. So we'll add that, and you'll see that come here. Now we want to add a field. So we're going to add a text field, so we can use this text box. I just wanted to point this out. You can also use predefined form fields. So if we just click on this down arrow, you'll see all the predefined fields that you can add, and you will actually see here that you can add predefined name, which would be first name and last name. We are going to stick with custom form fields. So let's add this text box in this left hand field, and then we will add another one in this field here. So we'll add another text box. We'll add that. Now what we want to do is we want to change the label of the field. So let's change the label, and we will call this first name, and we'll save the change. You can also change the color of the text, you can change the font type, and you can also change the font size, but we're going to keep everything as is. And then we'll make this one last name. So we'll make this last name, and we'll save the changes. Now the next thing we want to add is a subject box. So we're going to do create another row, and again I'm going to put a 2-column row in so it sits nicely on the page. So we're going to add that, and in the left hand side we will put subject. So we want another text box, and we'll add the text box, and we have it here. So we'll edit the name, and we'll call this subject, and we'll save the changes. And the next thing we want to add for our contact page is a message box. So again, we add another row, but this time I will just keep it a 1-column row. So we'll add that row, and then click the plus sign because we want to add a field. And this time we will add a comments box, which takes more information rather than a single line text box. So we'll add that, and then we'll change the name, and we'll change this to your message here, and then we'll save the changes. And that is pretty much it. We have completed a form. Now we're still going to want to make a few other changes. Now each of these rows has settings. So let's go into this first one with the email, and we'll see that there is a email address and a secondary email address. We do not want the secondary email address. Let's uncheck the secondary email, and we'll close that down, and the second email is gone. Now we want the first name and last name to be first at the top of the form. So we're going to take this and we're just going to drag it to the top of the form. So now we have first name, last name, email address, subject, and your message. So now let's take a look at the form settings. Here you can make quite a few changes. You can check this to allow only one submission per email address. You can check this to enable acknowledgement email, and when you click this to edit, you can write the acknowledgement email. You also have options here whether you enable confirmation message or whether you redirect them to a URL after submission. And then you can have this, if you check this box, you can have an active from and to, so you can disable the form at any time if you wish. So let's say for instance you've got an event running for 1 month, you can actually just let the form run for 1 month, and after that it will deactivate. We're going to uncheck and enable anti-spam code, so let's uncheck that. And you can also enable notification email. So there's quite a lot you can do in the form settings. So we'll save those changes that we've made just, and then we'll close out the form. Okay, so that is the contact form built. What I'm going to do now is I will build the other forms and I will speed up the video, but there will be a couple of times when I slow down the video when we actually add in some fields that you're not familiar with. So bear with it, it will only take a couple of minutes and I'll speed this part of the video up. So let's go ahead now and create the events form. So we'll go back to manage custom forms and we'll go to the event booking form and then we'll click edit. And we're going to do the same again. So we'll add 2 columns plus, and in here we will add text box and another text box. We'll add that in. The next thing we want to add is the payments. So we will add another field, another row, and we'll make this a 1-column row. And in this row we will add a payment for the event. So we will go into predefined form fields and we will go into payment options and we'll select this one here. We'll add that. So now we want to go into the settings of this particular field because we don't want to do recurring. So we're going to disable recurring and we will just close that down. So now we've just got select the amount. So we can change this and let's give it a title. Let's just put amount here, booking amount. And then we'll save that. And then what we'll do is we will add some options because in the drop down right now there are no options. So the first one will be 1 attendee and we'll set that at $10 and then we'll add that in. So let's just copy that and then we'll do 2 attendees and we'll do that at $20. So I will speed up the video while I add the rest of the options. Okay, there you have it. I've added 10 options and you will see them all in the drop down 1 through to 10. So now that is a option that they can choose when they're making a booking. So let's close that out. And that, by the way, will go directly through to PayPal. So let's go ahead and add another row. And in this one, we will put let's do this at 2 columns. And we'll add that. And in here, we will add a drop down. And we will do this so they can select the month. So we'll put this in here, drop down list, and we'll add that in. Okay, so there's the drop down. And we will say select a month. And then in here, we will add our drop down just as we did with the booking field. So we will do January. Add that. And I will speed this up while I add the rest of the month. Okay, so we've added all of the months in, and we'll close this down, and as you can see, we now have all of the months all stacked up in the drop down. So now let's add another row, and this time we're just going to put the address information. Let's add a row, and we'll just stick with 1 column, and then we will add an address. So we'll put the predefined address in. So we'll add that in. And you can see here that once this adds, everything is there for you. And you can control this by this setting here. So you can remove, and we'll duplicate what we've got there. So we'll keep the city, we'll keep the zip, and we'll keep the country. And we will remove other, state, and address. And let's just save those changes by closing that out. And there you see it. You see city, zip, country, and you have the drop down here as well. So this is really down to you the way you want to do this. You can use the predefined, or you can use your own. So let's delete the one that we did with the text boxes and keep the one in the 1 column. So the next thing we want to add, we just want to collect their telephone number and their organization name. So let's add a 2-column row. And again, we will use the text boxes. I'll add another one. And we'll just change the name here. Telephone number. Save that. And then we just need to collect their organization name. And we'll save that. And then the final thing that we want to do is we will remove the secondary email address by clicking the settings at the top, and then we'll just uncheck secondary email. And then the next thing that we'll do is we'll bring the first name and last name at the top. Let's just change that first. So we got the first name, and then the last name, and then we will drag this to the top just like so. And there you have it. We have the booking form completed, and the next form that we will do is the donation form. So in this donation form, for speed, we will use all the predefined field so that you can actually see how quick this can be. So let's add the first one, and we want one column, and we're going to add in the first name and last name. So all we need to do is add the name, and in this we will remove the middle name. So we'll click on the settings, uncheck middle name, and that's removed. So the next thing we will do, we will add the donation payments. So we'll just add one column, and we'll add that in, and we will add the recurring payment options. So we'll select payment options at the bottom, and we'll add that in. Now we're going to offer recurring donations and one-off donations. So within the settings, we will leave everything as is. You can see, and now all we need to do is add our payment options. So let's, just for speed, add some in, and we'll just do option 1, option 2, option 3. Close that off. So now what you'll see is option 1, option 2 and option 3 plus other amount. Now all we want to do is put the address details in, so let's add another row. This will be a 1-column row, and we will use the predefined address. So we will add, we will choose the predefined address here and add, and we will just remove other. And then we'll uncheck other, close that down, and that one also is complete. We now have our donation form in place. Let's go to the settings, and we'll remove enable anti-spam, and we will save the changes. Now the other thing you'll notice when we add a payment is that you will see select PayPal account. We don't have any PayPal accounts in here at the moment. So what you would need to do is go to payment processors. So we'll select this button here, and it will ask you to add a PayPal account, and it's as simple as that. And when you create the form, you go to form settings and you choose the PayPal account you would like to use.